Sometimes you're just hungry for a short and sweet mod to pick up and play for when you need to kill some time real quick. And the Valve community definitely has your back on that. There are lots of small little campaigns to choose from if you search for them. Something along the lines of the Stanley Parable. Yeah, there are a lot of endings, and there is a bunch of stuff to explore, especially in the more recent Super Deluxe edition of the game, but you can easily just pick up the game or mod for 15 minutes and feel satisfied, ready to jump into the game again on a later date to discover more endings and secrets. Another such mod is called Watching Paint Dry, the game, which is a game where you, well, watch paint dry. Or do you? Really? Well, looking at the length of the video, I definitely have a bit more to talk about than just watching paint dry. So let's have a wee look at this mod.
LambdaGeneration.
Watching Paint Dry the game is a mod for Half-Life 2 developed by DevBeef. It was released all the way back in 2019 and it's gotten very good reviews on ModDB. And some streamers have also already played it back in the day, so it was actually pretty popular. Now, I vaguely remember covering this mod loosely back in the All Things Lambda days, but I can't for the life of me figure out which episode it was on. Hey, I made 162 episodes of the show over the span of 3 years. I simply just cannot remember every single thing I covered from that time. The latest release of WPD the game was released at the end of 2020, but there is not much information about what actually changed in this release or if it just included bug fixes. In fact, the ModDB page for this mod is pretty sparse actually. But hey, there is a Discord server though, so maybe there is a changelog for it over there. Anyway, that's pretty much all I got for you in terms of an introduction, so let me tell you all about the mod itself. Now, this is a great moment for me to remind you that there might be spoilers in this video. So if you want to keep these endings and secrets a surprise for yourself, then please play the mod first and then come back to the video. I won't be going over every single one, but I definitely want to talk about my favorite secrets and endings. So, you've been warned. In Watching Paint Dry the game, you sit in a room and you watch paint dry. But that's not the only thing you're allowed to do. The magnificently smooth robo voice allows you to roam around the room and play with physics objects. But under no circumstances are you allowed to touch the wet paint. The robo voice will cry and it will boot you back to the main menu. Oh, great, now I get to load the game all over again. Those 2 seconds. At a certain point, you find a way to burst yourself out of the paint drying room, after which you can spread your chaotic energy throughout the entire house. And oh boy, are there lots of secrets to find in this very oddly architected house. In the house, you can find a downstairs area where you can pick up a gravity gun and play around with even more physics objects. And in the upstairs area, we find ourselves having access to a bathroom in case we need to go wee-wee, and a super strange room with this device. Above it, we can find instructions on how to build this device, and it also tells us to flip 3 switches to activate it, which is pretty cool. After exploring the house some more and finding secret areas to crawl through, we finally find the clock, monitor, and satellite dish to build ourselves a time machine. Ooh. And it boosts us 4 hours into the future. And those are the kind of secrets you can expect. In a lair under the house, you can find this keycard that you can use to open this door at the end of the hallway upstairs, which will lead you into a room with a giant screen in it, monitoring the paint application room and by extension, you. At least if you were to still be in it, which you're not. Pressing the purple button on the wall next to it will unleash something unspeakable. Something purple. Something Bonzi-ish. Gosh, I miss Bonzi Buddy memes. And yeah, he will kill you within 30 seconds. A typical Bonzi Buddy. Now, I think there might be a way to get away from him, maybe using the time machine, but I haven't actually tested that yet. You see, this stuff makes you want to go back and try different kind of combinations to see if the developers took that into account while they were making it. I love those kinds of games. And then there is my favorite secret of all. The fridge. It's not filled with food, no. The fridge instead leads to a hallway that has one of the time machine switches at the end of it. But there's also a hole that screams at me to make the plunge. So naturally I did. After I blacked out, I woke up again in a different, more deteriorated version of the house, which is a fun little secret in and of itself. But you can actually keep doing this secret several more times to get more and more versions of the house. You have a version of the house that is buried in sand, you have a version of the house that is now on the moon, a version of the house that is now a prison, and there's even a Stanley Parable version of the house. It even includes the narrator and everything, albeit an impression of the narrator. It's not Kevin Brighting himself, unfortunately. But this is just so cool. Eventually, you meet the little guy behind the voice, and he allows you to roam around his room if you like to. And you can completely ruin his life by throwing a paint bucket at him because he's tasked to remove anyone from the game who touches the paint. And since he is a machine and he has to follow direct orders, that includes himself as well. After the little monitor man had his breakdown, you respawn in a fully black and white version of the house. After which, you can finally leave through the front door. And the credits play while you move outside, back into the desert realm where you come from. A real Stanley Parable moment right here, huh? Anyway, I can babble on about this mod for ages, but honestly, most of this stuff is better experienced by yourself, so I highly recommend you to go check it out for yourself. It's free, after all. A link is in the description. Watching Paint Dry, the game, was released around 4 years ago now, and that's some time that has passed. Besides the paint being almost certainly dry by now, where are the developers? What have they done since then? Well, DevBeef actually went on to make a full game called Title Pending. Yes, that's the name of the game, and it's currently available on Steam for around $10. So if you like story-based exploration games with a video game company theme around it, then this might be for you. They're also in development of another game called Dr. Finkelstein's Marvelous Room, which is an interesting game where you have to test out 50 different items requested by volunteers to potentially save the planet from impending doom. This one will come out somewhere next year. Honestly, DevBeef is making some pretty interesting games here that might actually scratch that Stanley Parable itch that I've been having. I can confirm that I bought myself a copy of Title Pending, and I'll be playing that after this video is done. Anywho, what do you think of this mod and mods/games like this one? Are you a fan of these story/exploration/mystery-based games, or are you more of a shooty bang bang kind of person? Both are valid. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be reading them. Also, if you want to know whenever I upload a new video, then feel free to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to like the video either if you're down there anyway. We just reached 25,000 subscribers on here, and I honestly can't thank you enough. So here's to the next 25k.